Hey, everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening and watching the Online Course Building Secrets podcast. Hey, guys. So, today I want to talk about how your online course is like a game. I don't know about you guys, but I just recently watched The Queen's Gambit, and it was so interesting, just fascinating, right? How you can kind of, how she was able to envision the game board and play in her head, and then how it transformed out into actually how she was able to play in real life against opponents. And so it as we spend time really thinking about gamification and gamifying your course, I really want to draw some parallels between board games or online games that you're used to, and how that comes out in an online course and an online course experience that's done well. So gamification isn't really just about giving people badges or giving them little fireworks when they do something. There's actually a lot of strategic intent in terms of how to structure and gamify an online course experience so people can actually get results. But let's look at what some of the sort of the parallels are between just a regular game and gamifying your course. So I'm going to take the example. I play a lot of Chutes and Ladders with my child, and so I'm going to take that board game as an example, right? So there are five different things I want to talk about today in terms of kind of the parallels. The first one is that in a game, in a board game, you have a very clear beginning and an end, right? So you're starting at the starting place and you are trying to get to the end goal, wherever that is on the game board, right? So you have, first of all, you have a game board, you have an actual path that you're following on a board, right? So it could have squares, it could have circles, it could have different things, but there's a very clear path for I'm starting here and I'm ending here. So I may have to go backwards, I may have to shoot down the slide or go back up the ladder in order to kind of skip around, but there's a very clear game board. There's a very clear path that people are following to get from the beginning to the end to where they're winning. And so that's very specific in terms of a board game, right? It's not like an empty white board that you just put your little avatar guy anywhere on the board and then just keep moving around randomly on the white board until you get to where you feel like you want to stop, right? There's always a beginning and an end, and then a clear kind of trail for you to follow to get there. Again, it doesn't have to be a straight line. It doesn't have to be, completely linear, but there's always a beginning and there's always an end, and there's always some sort of way to get through it. So that's the third thing is rules. There's always rules for how to proceed, how to not proceed, what what's kind of off limits in terms of creativity, and what are within the bounds of kind of the guardrails of how they want you to go through the game, right? Some games are very specific, some are a little bit more open, but there's always at least guardrails to say, here's where you start, here's where you stop, here's the path, and then here are sort of the guardrails for how you're going to go through this, right? Again, it doesn't have to be linear. It could be that you get really far and then you land on something that sends you way back to the beginning, or um, you end up bankrupt, or you end up with all these things, and you have to continue to go through. So it's not necessarily faster. It's just, but there's a clear path with clear rules to get there. The next thing is that there are multiple players, right? So there are actual learners. There are real people who are taking turns going through and learning and practicing different things, right? So I may roll a 6, my son may roll a 2, and I'm able to go farther than he is on that turn, and then the next turn we maybe switch, or maybe we're equal, or he gets sent back to the beginning and I go up a ladder, right? There's lots of things that are going on, but there are specific things that each person is doing in order to get to that next level, to get to that end state. And so a lot of times this shows up in sort of in your online course as learners, the community, and you as the instructor, right? So you could be kind of navigating people through and helping them either, get ahead, or follow the path, or what do you do when you're not following the path, where you hit an obstacle or you hit a challenge and you have to hurdle over that, right? So there's always people who are taking turns, people who are learning from each other as they continue to go through the game. And then, of course, the last thing that I would say would be similar would be the rewards, right? So you get to a certain place and you get a reward. You get acknowledgement that you have, either won the game, or you have reached a milestone, or you've bought more hotels and rental properties than someone else, right? You have more money in the bank, all whatever the actual game is, right? But you're rewarded along the way, so you continue to get to the goal, get to winning the game. But there's always some type of reward or milestone acknowledgement around as you're going through. So those are the 5 main ways that your online course can be similar to a game, and your game is similar to an online course, right? There's a clear beginning and end. There's rules. There's a game board. There's a specific path that's helping you get from beginning to end. There are multiple players taking turns, and multiple things that are happening along the path to help each other move forward, or to to collaborate, to move forward, however you're going to do it. And then there are specific and thought out rewards and recognition along the path that help continue to keep people motivated to keep going. So there are 5 different ways that you could add some extra, kind of oomph or interaction into your online courses, that can be as simple as opening up a board game and really looking at how that board game is working, the mechanics of it, and then mirroring those in your online course. So that is your online course building secrets tip of the day.